Another thing you'll get with this combination package is what I've called here the levy thumper package, which is a combination between the argument delivery system that I called also calling off the dogs and all the levy research that I did. So you know what? If you have that, just gives you a lot more ways, things to draw on to make your arguments. Let's look at what's in that package. Okay, there's 106 cases that discuss 26 U.S.C. Section 7433. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% of this 106 cases is the courts telling people they're dismissing their case because they failed to send a letter. But what I figured out was that there was somebody waiting on the other end to read the letter. He's like, the exact phrase escapes me. It might be manager technical compliance or something, or technical compliance officer, something to that effect. But at any rate, he's waiting on the other end to read that letter. And I discovered that this is one of the absolute best ways to communicate with the IRS, and you'll be doing yourself a big favor if instead of just sending letters in where administrative assistants take and stick it in the file, and you never know if anybody even looked at it. Maybe somebody did read it, but not anyone with any authority. This technical compliance officer, when you frame it as a notice of intent to sue, you are opening your way to get damages, go to court and win damages. And here's a thought: if only cases I could find that discuss this statute, which gives you the right to sue the United States for unlawful tax collection activity, were them getting dismissed because there was a letter. Now, that left like 20% of the cases. Of the 20% of the cases that were left, all but two, as I recall, were just the court mentioning the statute in passing, not really discussing it or anything. They just said, hey, if you want a remedy, go over there to that statute or something like that. And then the last two were actual cases that went to court. One involved the parking garage and the other involved Gandy Nursery. Gandy Nursery, they won over $300,000 in damages on their suit against the United States for unlawful tax collection activity. Now, I've already read a whole bunch of these cases for you and put it all in the notes. There's no point in you reading 80 cases that say over and over send a letter. That's the whole point. As part of the package, you get the statute, copy of the statute, copy of the reg, and 3 sample administrative claim letters, notices of intent to sue that won. And you get 2 reviews of other claim letters where improvements are discussed, and you get area directory addresses to send your letter to, and instructions on how to use the package. And then you get the other half of this, which includes 8 pages of notes I took from cases about levies, 18 cases containing authority the IRS must follow their internal rules and regulations when your rights are involved, a cool letter on levy concerning a Form 668W. Let's see here, and then this has got something in it about collection due process hearings, how to get that, use the suspension provision of that statute. A copy of the actual levy statute that limits maximum levy to 15%. A consolidated copy of the IRS levy manual. A copy of the hearing and levy regulations. Well, let me show you something else about this calling off the dogs package that's part of this combination package. I wanted to show you this. This is part of my transcript that I made. This is a transcript of a talk I gave about the calling off the dogs package. And here are collateral wins that I found in the case law that I collected into these packages. And one of the things that happened was after Mrs. Shaw filed a Section 7433 suit for unlawful tax collection activity, a refund of all the money collected and the remaining tax liability was abated. That's what she got. She got a refund and the tax liability was abated. After filing one of these suits, the government dismissed a criminal action against the 7433 plaintiff. And so the Shaw case, Mrs. Shaw, that's Shaw versus U.S., that's 5th Circuit. The criminal action against the 7433 plaintiff is Fishburne versus Brown in the Sixth Circuit in 1997. After filing one of these Section 7433 suits, the IRS returned a seized Cadillac, and that's Washington versus U.S. Ninth Circuit in 1992. After filing one of these suits, the propriety of the defendant's calculation of the plaintiff's tax liability, so the defendant would be the government, right? And the plaintiff's tax liability, so that would have been the guy who filed the suit against the United States. The calculation of the plaintiff's tax liability was resolved in the plaintiff's favor in tax court. That's Templeman versus U.S. First Circuit, 1994. So, you know, you look at these cases, you go, oh, well, if you read the 106 cases, you go, these are all losses. But you know what? Inside those 106 cases were these little wins, you know. I mean, it's not a loss when the remaining tax liability was abated and they return your money, or when a criminal action is dismissed. And then after filing one of these suits, improperly levied funds were returned, and that's Raymond versus U.S. Sixth Circuit, 1993. And then they're not all losses, because in that was the Gandy case, Gandy Nursery versus U.S., where Gandy Nursery won $388,500 in damages and $317,000 in costs. I tried to contact this guy Gandy, but he had sold his nursery and I wasn't able to track him. Now what this shows me is that, you know, you can't really say, oh, this didn't work. I'm talking about a notice of intent to sue, because, you know, to find out whether it totally didn't work, you'd have to file the suit. I know, and that's something that not everybody wants to do, and but still, and I think this also shows that, you know what, we know about these little wins that took place after the suit was filed, but who knows how many administrative wins there were. I know about 6 where people started getting a full paycheck. We used to use this to stop levies until they came out with this 6330 suspension of collection activity by requesting a collection due process hearing. And so at any rate, I know about 6 people that after they filed a notice of intent to sue, administrative claim for damages or whatever, they started getting a full check. That it stopped the levy, or they stopped the levy. So this is something that you should have in your arsenal, and it's part of this combination package. So that's all part, that comes in this combo package. That normally costs $298, and you're getting that as part of this combo package. Now let's go to the next thing. All angles offensive MP3s. Here's what happened. Somebody sent me a couple things. One, the uniform acknowledgement letter. Now here's the point about paying attention to this. Get out ahead of them. In other words, if I went down through this letter and also a determination letter. So, you know, don't wait to get your determination letter to raise the issues about the determination letter. Get it into your collection due process hearing request addendums. Problems that you anticipate, rights violations that you anticipate, violations of the law that you anticipate coming from your collection due process hearing officer. Put those in and box her in on, hey, you're going to follow the law or not. And if you listen to the 103 minutes, where I discuss somewhere between 30 and 40 of these issues off of those two things, the uniform acknowledgement letter, which I learned about from the Treasury Inspector General audit reports. They're supposed to send you this acknowledgement letter, and also from their determination letter, which is probably also a form letter. And then the problem is that that was just me kind of making an educated guess that, hey, look, here are issues you could raise. So what I did was I rolled in my online legal research video, and the two things I sell, you know, on the cart by themselves for $167. The video itself sells for $145, and you're getting that as part of this package. So watch the video, and then you'll learn how to research out these issues for your circuit, and then you'll be able to raise on-point issues in your hearing.